Talking tactics this week, thanks to Benstud, Mark and Tracy Commodore. It's one of those very tricky names that doesn't look the same way as when you spell it. Gladly come on board and sponsoring Talking Tactics this week. I'm very lucky to be catching up with Chris Alford, who's looking up at the sky because he thinks I'm not talking to him at the minute, but that's okay.
All good.
I declare when I've had a take two or a take three, Chris. We've had a couple of goes here, just a few little issues. I couldn't work out what's in the top of your screen. It's my phone. And yeah, we've had a few little hiccups, but we will start it all again now. And yeah, hopefully we can get this thing going. I'll get you down there this time in the right spot. Anyway, mate, and we'll go from there. First winner for the night was quite a big, impressive horse called Jimmy Come Home. We're talking just there before about getting him out of the gate and just staying out of trouble, Chris. And you said that was a little bit of a relay from Brett Lilly.
Yeah, he just said, he'd only had him for one run the week before at Maryborough. And off the front, he just said, try and sort of work forward without pushing him too hard because he can get a bit rough. And we were able to do that pretty comfortable on the first day, even though we were out a little bit wide. Just stayed out of the early speed duel, and once the speed backed off, we kept working forward.
What's your mindset when you're four deep like that, mate, out wide? Less experienced drivers might panic. They might worry what a trainer says. But are you just trying to keep the horse balanced out there?
Pretty much. He was travelling pretty strong, and he wanted to get forward, and I was sort of more just waiting for the speed to back off. I needed the horse that was inside me hunting forward to get forward and grab hold before I could get past this sort of thing.
Yep. And then pretty much the front was always there. I mean, Laura Crosland was always only going to hand up to you, you would imagine, on paper. And after that, you were able to sort of dictate the race, and you just kept a good, even clip the whole way, which negates anyone being able to sort of come around and keep any pressure on you, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sort of looked that way. The horse that was in front was sort of an outsider, so I'm pretty sure it was looking for a trail, so we were able to work forward and get to the front, and he felt strong, and he's not really a sprinter, I don't think, and the main thing was just to keep him comfortable and roll on along at a good speed.
The one thing I noticed, and he's just going to the line here, I cut out the middle part of the race because you sort of just reeled off some pretty comfortable quarters, 31-6, 30, 28-1 down the back and 29-3. He's got a very slow action, hasn't he? Like he covers a lot of ground. He is a very big horse by Big Jim, but he's got quite a slow, extravagant action.
Yeah, he sort of, a 32 quarter sort of feels like about a 35 quarter for him.
Yep.
He just sort of gets over the ground really well, and even though he was sort of rolling along, which was a good speed, he just felt that he was doing it so comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah, and he done it easy. And we will talk about, there's a bit of banter going backwards and forwards on social media about you finding the front and getting away with things. But I think that race there on paper, once you found the front, you're always going to be very hard to beat. The next horse, and I'm glad we've got to take two on it. This was the one that I watched initially, and I thought Talking Tactics is there to try and bring to light what drivers do. Before this race unfolded, Chris, there was a lot going on in your warm up when you were warming the horse up out on the track. You were, I suppose, giving him a nice warm up, but not a hard one. But then he got pulling a little bit. Chris Finozio got on your back, and he got a little bit revvy. And you pulled him up. You walked him for about 400 metres. You walked him 200 metres away, and then turned him around and walked him back just to let him get his air. Is that because he can get a bit revvy, this horse?
He's sort of different every time you take him out. There's sort of no set rule with him yet. But he was all nice and strong. I'd probably tend to warm them up pretty strong, where a lot of people warm them up pretty quiet. But I like to let him slide around, and he was good. And then, as you said, Smooth got on his back, and he got a bit revved up. So I just want to give him a bit of a rest to get his breath back before we got to the start.
That must be a hard one in a way for you to, like when Chris gets on your back, because, I mean, you do it a little bit with Wobbly and you try and pick the right horses, but every now and then the horse you'll get on the back of, they can just get a bit revvy, or they can fire those horses up, can't they?
Yeah, but the best thing is to ask the person that you want to follow if you can follow them before you do it.
Yep.
I don't try and get on someone's back that I know their horse is going to get revvy. I ask them pre-race if we can do it, and that's all well and good. And sometimes people get on your back, and that annoys me greatly, but we get over
that. Very true. Mate, your tactics with this trotter, we'll just roll the end of that tape there, but just early on right here, out of the gate, you don't fire him off hard at all. To me, you look quite conscious of keeping Kate hard up on your back. Is that so that she's committed then to following you through most of the race?
It was sort of a tricky one. We had Kate drawn right behind us, and I didn't quite know if she had speed to keep up with us early, and but there was nothing sort of on the front line that could push him, and I pretty much thought if we got an easy lead, it wouldn't be that bad. But if I had to burn too hard, it would just sort of set it in place for Kate's horse to run past us. And as we come out after sort of 100 metres, there was sort of nothing going forward, so I was pretty happy just to hold up and go as steady as we could.
And then Mick Bellman, he had other ideas with My Sky Pocket. He wasn't happy with the slow speed. And did this get you worried at all when he comes here now and puts a fair bit of speed into the race?
No, I saw him come pretty early and picked up, and he got outside me, and we sort of sprinted up a little bit, and Nick sort of said, "Oh, don't you know what you're doing? You got the favourite on your back if you want to win the race." And I said, "Oh, I pretty much know what I'm doing, so you just grab a hold and move it right." And then we sort of backed off again after that, and everything was good.
And Mick's horse has been going okay. Like, there's a couple of up-and-coming trotters in this race, and Mick's horse, he's been around for a long time, but he's actually been going okay against Wobblies and McLovins and the like. So his form was reasonable enough as well. You probably ended up with your main dangers right where you wanted them, one outside of you and one on the back, where you could dictate the race to both of them.
Yeah, well, I sort of knew that Mick's horse, as you said, has been going really well, My Sky Pocket, and he sort of couldn't outstay me and make it a stay-in test. And you had to go as slow as you could after he'd done that work. And as I said, Kate was on my back, and we just soared along and sprinted home, and her horse wasn't quick enough.
Yeah, and you did. You zipped home in 28.1, and you only went down the back in 29.9, which, I mean, I hate people trying to smash the clock down the back straight and just basically stack them and rack them. And Kate's horse is quite fast. I think it went 27.8 at Bendigo the night that it won there. But just by not rolling before the 400 metres, it's a lot harder for a trotter to be able to peel off any horse that's got any sort of speed at all, isn't it?
Yeah, well, pretty much we only sort of went, as I said, like 29.9 or 30 down the back, and same around the bend, and we just sort of probably dashed up straight in 13, so they got home pretty well.
Yeah,
so it's never going to catch him.
He got home very well. We'll get on to the social media banter, because I mean the next race there's a fair bit goes on in that one as well. But about you sort of you go to the front and it's like you're entitled to, Chris. I don't know whether it's because I don't actually understand how they come to the conclusion of what they said anyway. But you try and put your horses in the best position to win the race, and turns out at Shep, like the next race as well, you find the front, but it's a little bit more tactical. But what are your thoughts on all that banter that was going backwards and forwards?
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things. Everyone has their opinion, but I look at it as though if I'm in a race and I attack to the front, well, think I've got the best horse, and the horse in front of me is not good enough to hold me out. So I don't just relentlessly attack to the front if I've got no hope. I'm pretty sure that most times I attack to the front that I win the race.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, you were wrong at Bendigo the other night, mate. I'll hold you to that one too.
Yeah, it was one of yours.
No, it was one of Marie's, remember? You're not allowed...
Your brother put your...
I know, I saw that. I thought of all the races he could have put up on social media. He didn't have to bring that one up.
Yeah, fancy putting your brother in.
But anyway, this next race, now the tactics in this next race, I think outstanding. You say about going to the front and finding the front all the time. You've drawn wide out here. Now, Glenn Douglas has drawn one. He's a driver that if he's decided he wants to lead, he's pretty determined to hold the lead. And I just find what you do here up the straight and to the winning post that first time. I must point out too that you've got Pacifico Dream, who's the only horse off the second line. So you've got your main danger sort of back on the fence. And it's just a little bit of tactic. I'm just curious on your thoughts here that you didn't really challenge Glenn to get to the front initially.
No, well, I've sort of found that over the years, even though bad horses, they can still get out of the gate and can cost you the race. And I've sort of seen it a lot of times over the years, people trying to get to the front from bad horses in the first sort of 300 and bring themselves undone. And this race was sort of one of those. It was virtually a two-horse race. My horse and Pacifico Dream, and Kelly was happy with the horse coming into the race, but he's pretty pessimistic about how you want to drive his horse. He's not an aggressive person, but I just said, well, I think we have to stay in front of Kate and just see what happens from there. So I just sort of let him rip out the first 100 metres to the winning post just to make sure I was in front of Kate. Was quite happy to sit outside the leader because if she sat back, I knew I'd be able to sit outside the leader and beat it. But I knew if she came, then if I went with her, he'd have to let me go. Absolutely,
and I've actually blown the next part of the video up where I stopped it. People didn't get to see the start there, which I apologise for, but you will just position yourself up outside Glenn. But this part I've actually blown the video up so people can actually see, and especially young drivers. I want young drivers to actually watch you, Chris. There, you've got the race. To me, you've got Kate 2 carts back. I can't do two things with me videos, unfortunately. I needed to have the wide view as well because you're a long way there off Glenn Douglas's wheel, who Glenn was leading. You're actually easing back, but you're constantly looking over your shoulder. Just little looks, not big, long looks, like some drivers can, to sort of say, oh, where are you and when are you coming? You're just waiting for Kate to make her move out 3 deep. And even when she does, you're actually making sure she's still coming. Like you didn't want to have another crack for the front and get left sort of doing too much work against Glenn Douglas's horse.
No, that's right. I sort of just had to sit there and be steady and let the horse relax. And my plan was always as soon as she had to come, because we couldn't go that slow. But as soon as Kate came, I had to go with her, and Glenn was always pretty much going to hand up.
Yep. Yeah, and then these two horses are high quality horses. They ran first and second their last start before a spell in the the VHRC 3-year-old, which is a quality race over the years as well. Mar Pacifico went to the New South Wales Derby. I think it won. Sorry, not Mar Pacifico, Pacifico Dream, and it won a heat of the New South Wales Derby and was fourth. And this little bloke you drive, it's just a pity. Like, it just looks like basically you found the front and she's gone outside. But the tactics in that first 400 metres, I think, definitely what won you the race. But it's something that I think a lot of people should sort of sit back and have a good look at.
maybe someone saying that, but in that situation, you still got to have the horse that's good enough to do it, and I was pretty sure I did. And as we talked about the lead times and stuff like that, I could have tried and burn out the gate and get to the front in the first 400 and sort of put him to his limit, and Kate might have come around, sat outside him and beat him. But as it was steady early, and I went to the front when I wanted to, and he was good enough to sprint home.
And he's a super fast horse here. You're a little bit off the fence, but you're just going that fast. I mean, you're both flying like it's 27.8, 27.8, 55.6 the last half, and he's flying, and he does it terrific, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's always been a good little horse, and seems to have come back a little bit stronger as a 3-year-old.
Yeah, I actually saw him down the horse area, and he looked. I thought he was a standout the way he looked, mate. And I think all three drives. Like if you look at it on paper, Puppet leads, Puppet wins. But I think if you actually go back and watch all three of those drives, there was a lot more tactics than just going straight to the front. It's tempo related with the first one. Caginess to know where you got your main rivals, the second one, and even that last one I think was incredibly cagey to make sure you got Kate outside of you, and then zip home in, as I said, 55.6. And if Kate was good enough to beat you and you run home in 55.6, well, you go home happy because you thought, well, you've tried everything, and I think that's one of the good things. So I've got to say sorry about all that. We just lost Chris there just right at the end. I'm not sure if his phone's gone flat or that. I can't actually get him back on. Talking Tactics, as I said, sponsored this week by Benstud, Mark and Tracy. That's Mark's phone number underneath there. You can give him a call any time. I'm just trying to highlight some of the tactics that drivers execute out there on the racetrack, and I think Chris the other night was just in sensational fashion. So hopefully people have liked it. I was going to talk quickly about Cracker Jet, but I just hopefully one day I'll catch up with Chris again and we can bring a highlight of it up. But he's a lovely little trotter going through his classes, but stepping up in class every start, it gets a little bit harder and harder. But hopefully people have enjoyed this coverage, this episode of Talking Tactics, and we'll be back hopefully next Saturday night. We'll try and do it a little bit better with the audio, but it gets a bit hard. COVID-19's made things very tricky to try and get these out, but I'm hoping people enjoy them anyway. So thank you very much, and we'll be back next week. Thank you very much to Benstud.